Well, congratulations on making it to week 2. This week, we're talking about the concepts of labor and class. As I mentioned in my gloss for our discussion this week, it's hard to focus on these tenets without slipping into an overtly Marxist perspective. Hopefully, you're conversant enough with Marxism and critical theory not to be frightened of it or shy about applying it to the US for fear of contaminating our history with shades of socialism. In political theory, Marxism can be boiled down to the view that economics drive human interaction. In literary theory, anytime we see money entering directly as a factor in the lives of characters, we can take the same view. So for instance, one conflict of the play Fences by August Wilson is between the father and son characters Troy and Corey Maxon. Corey wants to try to go to college on a football scholarship, but Troy is a former athlete whose experience tells him that the safest path for his son is to pick a steady, reliable trade. That's what he advocates. We might talk about this conflict in any number of ways, but because it focuses on earning potential through labor, the conflict can be addressed as falling within the bailiwick of Marxism. Now, that's just one example, but I know you can think of others. Did you ever think about what it means for the significance of material goods in the economy of Oliver Twist, that a thief can make a living by stealing and reselling handkerchiefs? Clearly, that would not be possible in the 21st century. So what does it say about the intrinsic value of even simple material merchandise in Victorian England versus our own time? Now, in philosophy, Marxism is closely tied with the Hegelian dialectic. I'm not going to get into the intricacies of that right now. What you need to know is that we can abstract this element of Marxist theory and use it anytime we make comparisons. Marxism tends to look for dueling interests on any given topic. Last week, we saw Thomas Paine doing just this in opposing society and government. But the concept can be even more basic. Excuse me. In storytelling, we can recognize the figure of the hero and that of the villain who meet with opposite ends in mind. One is the hero because we don't agree with the character's goal. The other is the villain. Did I say we don't agree with it? One is the hero because we agree with the character's goal. The other is the villain because we don't agree. Yet, the two opposites are united by the element they're struggling over. The fact that we can understand the hero as the hero in relation to the villain as the villain sets them up as a dialectic. The class division in Marxist thought is the split between classes with each one concentrating on its own interests, its own view of what is good and proper. Essentially, the one class becomes the hero and the other is the villain, but which is which depends on your affiliation. The upshot of all this is that we can use Marxism without really being overtly political or actively advocating for revolution, although we won't rule it out. The texts we're using to talk about class and work are, I think, a little odd for this discussion. I can think of any number of stories and novels which deal directly with these issues head on. And I think if I was in charge of course design, I would have included at least one of them. Maybe something like Life in the Iron Mills by Rebecca Harding Davis, Work by Louisa May Alcott, or The Jungle by Upton Sinclair would have given a solid and easy point of entry to the subject. However, the fact that our texts are not obvious in the way they deal with class and labor might actually make our exercises more intellectually stimulating. Since what we're going to have to do is think through Melville, Thoreau, and Morrison in ways it might not occur to us to do otherwise. Besides our discussion this week, you're also asked to submit the first work you must perform for our milestone project. This is a short document between 300 and 500 words. In it, you'll tell me what 2 works from our reading list you'd like to use as your primary sources as the subject for your research. The 2 works should come from different periods in history so that there's an element of contrast between them, a demonstration of change from one time to another. However, the 2 works should also be linked by a theme. So in essence, you're aiming to compare how a single theme plays out in one time versus another. Once you say what text you've picked, all you need to do is provide a short overview of what textual elements you see impacting your comparison. So let me know if you have questions. As usual, just contact me in any way that's convenient, and I will get back with you with, the needed answers. So till next week.